and I'll do the intro.
Let's see, where am I? This way.
Where's the intro? Here. Stupid phones. Okay, where's the intro at? Right here. Here it is.
Hi, this is Wayne Newton, and you're listening to my good friend and favorite DJ, Jimmy DIELE.
And my favorite DJ, too. Welcome to tonight's show. We have an amazing guest. Just the singer-songwriter, record and producer, amazing songs from the 60s, 70s, 80s. Welcome our guest, Felix Cavaliere, to the Jimmy DIELE Show.
Welcome, Felix. How are you?
I'm doing okay, my friends. Good to see you all.
Great to see you, too. So nice to have you on the show. What an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Congratulations on your brand new memoir, The Memoir of a Rascal.
Yes.
Tell us about the book, putting the book together, and why now?
Well, here's what happened. Let me explain. We did a Broadway show with Steve Van Zandt in 2013. And it was called Once Upon a Dream. And during that process, we had to do publicity. So we did press conferences.
To have you here.
And everybody got on stage and the press would come in and ask us questions. And I noticed, very interestingly, everybody had a different answer for the same question. So I said, wait a minute. Are you kidding? I mean, seriously, was Custer, did he really win or lose that battle? I don't know. It depends on who told the story last. So I said, well, let me put my 2 cents in so that at least I can have it documented, because I could have sworn I was there, you know. And then I realized that, you know, I've been here for quite a few years, and the Rascals were only like a 5-year, 6-year period of the whole schlamiggy there, you know. So I said, well, let me write about my life and basically just tell people, you know, my story. That's really how it happened.
Awesome. Now, you really started playing clubs in the Hamptons, right? When you first started out?
Well, we actually started in New York, New Jersey, but the one where people discovered us, so to speak, was out in the Hamptons. Yes.
Cool. And you worked with Sid Bernstein, right? And he was known for the Beatles, right? And
Right.
Didn't he manage you guys?
Yeah. He actually, we were out at this place called the Barge in the Hamptons, and as you well know about the Hamptons, that's where everybody goes that can afford, you know, to go out there in the summer, especially the record executives and this big kind of like textile manufacturer by the name of Walter Hyman.
Mm-hmm.
Came out there, he saw us, saw like there was a little bit of like a scene happening, and he he called up his friend Sid Bernstein, who proceeded to sign us up and manage us.
Oh, that's so awesome. And then also you got to deal with Atlantic Records, right? From working out in the Hamptons. That's where that started, right? Tell us about how that all went down.
Well, once we had, you know, a legitimate manager, you know, now things started to really happen. You know, I mean, for example, our salary got doubled for that place we were working, the Barge, which is no longer there, but it was really a cool place. But we would have people come in there, like Betty Davis was there for the summers, and all these execs. So when Sid and Walter put the word out that we were looking for a record deal, they came. They all came. The only one that would allow us, or should I say me, to produce ourselves was Atlantic. Everybody else wanted to give us, you know, like, I mean, Phil Spector was out there, man. He came in, and, you know, I was a huge Phil Spector fan, but we had to say no because he wouldn't let us do our thing. So anyway, Atlantic did allow us to do that, which was fantastic.
So awesome. Doc G, you have something for Felix?
Yeah, I wanted to find out more. Your tour with Joey D and the Starlighters, because I didn't even know this, because I was only 8 years old when I first heard your music.
All right, don't rub it in. Don't rub it in. 8 years old. My God. That's disgusting. But anyway, what happened was this. And again, this is all in this book, you know, which is about the memoir.
No, just give us highlights. That's it. Yeah.
Well, what happened basically is I was in college and I left for a summer with a band to go to the Catskill Mountains. At the Catskill Mountains, they would have headliners come in every weekend. Joey D happened to come in on a particular weekend. They so-called found me, you know, and not even a month later, they were on their way to Europe during a European tour, and their organ player quit. So they called me and invited me to join them in Frankfurt, Germany.
Oh, wow.
Now, here's the best part of it. When I went to Germany, there was an opening act for us called the Beatles. So I walk into this club. I'm all about 5 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? And I'm fresh out of school. And I don't know anything. And all of a sudden, I hear everybody yelling and screaming and hollering and happy. And I'm saying, "What the heck? What's going on here?" It's the Beatles. It's the what? It's the Beatles. Oh, so I not only listened to them, but I was able to kind of come to the conclusion that seriously, this looks like it's a lot of fun. Maybe I should try this as a career.
So
you were right, weren't you?
And the next thing you know, and then not even within 6 to 8 months of that, and the next year they came to the United States, and then everybody knew what was going on with the Beatles.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and you started out pretty much playing classical music, right? You were a classically trained musician, right?
Until I went to college, yeah, pretty much. And briefly in high school and junior high, I played with bands that played in weddings and things like that. But prior to that, yeah, only classical. And then when I went off to Europe, it was pretty much all rock and roll.
Felix, repeat that for me, because there's a lot of friends that I have that still do wedding bands, and they say, a wedding band is never going to make it anywhere. I says, no, if you're good, you never know. You can go somewhere. And you just proved that what I just said.
Well, I mean, seriously, when you play in weddings and bar mitzvahs and proms, and you get diverse. I mean, you have to play everything,
Right.
You got to play from Havana Gila, you got to play everything. You got to know everything.
Right.
So
right.
what's wrong with that? I mean, like I say, because, like if you come up just thinking the only thing you know how to play is rock and roll, you got a problem.
That's right.
Because what I mean by that is, when you want to do other things such as producing, songwriting, et cetera, expose yourself to as many music genres as you can, because it's all gonna hit right in the back of the subconscious here, and you're gonna be very happy you did it.
Right. When you first recorded with Atlantic Records, you actually worked in their studios in Manhattan, right? With so many other great artists had worked with Ray Charles, so many other people. That must have been a great experience for you.
Well, it was wonderful is the only word I can say, because, first of all, as you say, this is a studio where many of the greats recorded. Ray Charles, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, the list goes on and on and on. And we were in the same room, and really we had the same engineer in many cases, the Drifters, the Coasters, King Curtis. So yeah, it was kind of a magical experience for me, no question about it. And something I'll always be grateful for.
Absolutely. And also you were really influenced by like people like Bob Dylan too, right? When you were writing songs and stuff like that.
Well, prior to Bob Dylan and of course the Beatles and the Stones, people went to publishing houses to get their music. They didn't write their own songs. That was kind of a new phenomenon in the 60s, which changed everything. You wrote your own songs and it really changed the entire business, because now you have it all the way where you have like people like Billie Eilish and, people like they're really writing songs that are just personal kind of experiences. Taylor Swift, whereas before, there was that, the songwriters kind of world, that did all of the kind of tunes, the Cole Porters, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And you guys were so diverse. I mean, and Atlantic Records really gave you that opportunity to create your own stuff, which is so awesome.
Well, they gave us the opportunity. They gave us, believe it or not, free studio time, which was great. They also gave us 2 outstanding geniuses to accompany the studio room, Tom Dowd and Arif Mardin. Now, this was kind of like the Beatles had George Martin, but it was, I mean, what a joy to work with people of that ilk, of that talent. It was just magical.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Dachi.
Yeah, I'm still doing the pictures. But yeah, I mean, Felix, your career. I mean, I got it as a songwriter. I got to ask you, how did you write the songs, or how did you get the songs that were the hits for you guys, like "Good Lovin'"? I mean, that's still. I mean, it's never gone away. It's like a Beatles song. It just keeps on hitting.
Well, we didn't write "Good Lovin'." "Good Lovin'" I picked up from a radio station, and it was done by a group because in those days the clubs demanded covers.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would have to do, seriously, we would have to find. In other words, I would go to New Rochelle, and there was a record store there, and you guys remember record stores, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You remember you go into a little booth, and you could stay there for 3 or 4 hours, and then finally the guy says, "Are you going to buy anything or what?" And then you just say like, "Well, yes." But the reason is because first of all, I could hear the music, and second of all, I could prove to the club owners that this was a cover. That this was not they just didn't want to hear originals. They were not interested. They wanted to get the people up, dancing, drinking, etc. So that's how I found a lot of these songs. Wow. And then we put our kind of like interpretation of them, and then the audience said yay or nay. And in Good Lovin's case, big yay.
Wow. What about Groovin'? I know you did that about a relationship, right? About a girl that you had met.
Well, all of the songs, the original songs, were about relationships until we got to "How Can I Be Sure," and then the relationship ended.
Another great song, though. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good song. Like I say, but they have a word. Again, I mentioned this. It's called a muse, M-U-S-E. Basically, sometimes you meet somebody that inspires you so much. Right. That this beautiful kind of like creative kind of flow of energy comes out, and sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes, you have a negative energy, but in this case, it was very positive. So all of these songs were written about a certain, relationship, a certain female, until, as I say, I got to "How Can I Be Sure?" And I realized, wait a minute, I'm way too young. What's going on here? I decided it was too soon to get married and too soon to jump off the ship, and it was just amazing. It was like an experience,
Wow. Was that the same case with "Beautiful Morning" too? One of my favorites.
That was during the period of time, but see, "Beautiful Morning" had that period now had an interjection of, I was studying with a guru now. I was studying with a man by the name of Swami Satchidananda, who was the fellow who opened up, the gentleman who opened up Woodstock. So now I was in real bliss. I was not only in, like relationship bliss, but I was in real bliss, and we were, we had a #1 record prior to that, Groovin', and we were in Hawaii. And I said, oh my God, I got to write something. We got to write something that's just beautiful.
Absolutely. And you guys, one of the big breaks that you guys had was the Ed Sullivan Show. Tell us about your experience with the Ed Sullivan and the Ed Sullivan Show performing.
Well, this is a whole story in itself. Ed Sullivan was a newspaper man, a columnist prior to having his television show. See, in those days, what you would do is you instead of having like internet and having like social media, you basically you went to a newspaper to get publicized. In other words, there was an entertainment column. Mm-hmm. He was that. He was a social entertainment columnist, and CBS, I guess, picked him up and asked him if he would do a weekly show. And the show was unique because instead of it being like now, these days, when you do a television show, you get a union scale. But he had like a big stipend, like for example, he had maybe say $150,000, $200,000 to produce a show. So right. He would actually pay the acts their normal fees, their normal concert fees. So it was totally different. And it was live. So to make a long story long,
longer,
we would go in on Monday morning, bright and early, 7:00 at least, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, we would do a complete show in front of an audience, not televised. And then Sunday would be the show, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was pretty wild, man. It was really wild because it was really live. And by that, I mean, like, if an act plays, say 3 minutes, 5 minutes, then the introduction for the next part, commercial and speaking, let's say it was a minute and a half, 2 minutes. He would blow it every time.
Really?
Well, he would look in the audience, he would see someone that he knew, and all of a sudden that 2 minutes went to 2:15 or 2:10, and now everybody would start scrambling backstage. That's what happened with Jackie Mason. I don't know if you remember that story. How could you cut a comedy act? I mean, they go like this, like this, like this, and he went like this, because you can't. How are you going to cut? What joke should I leave out? You
right.
But that's what happened. So it was like a extremely, I won't say the word tense. It was like just exciting, And we were used to working like shows 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You go on there, if you're there for 3 minutes, 4 minutes after 6 days and a half of rehearsing. So we would go back, Eddie would go back to the apartment and wreck the freaking place. You know what I mean? He had all this energy, because 3 minutes and you worked the whole week.
Yeah.
It was really different, very different. There was no taping or anything like that,
Right. I mean, that was a big deal for you guys. How was it to actually work with Ed Sullivan, though? Did you have a lot of encounters with him?
In more ways than one, yeah. He was kind of like, I mean, like a lot of these people from that generation, they really didn't like rock and roll. They couldn't kid me. We knew why we were there. We were bringing in ratings.
There you go.
And like you sense that. I mean, he would cater to the people that were like, more like the comedians, like the Buddy Hackett's and people like that. And I had a kind of a beef with him and his staff because, hey, we're the ones who you're headlining the show, and we got the worst dressing rooms. Wait a minute, my man. Hold on a minute. It's 1960s now, which is funny because it's 2022 now. But the times had to change. He was tough. He ran a tough ship.
I heard that he was. Yeah, I want to ask you about my friend Pepe Castro from the Blues Magoos. I don't know if you know. Pepe's been a good friend of mine for a long time. And I talked to him, and I interviewed him, and just like I was going to ask you the same question, what's it like to appear with other people like the Billy Joel, at Madison Square Garden in 2015? That had to be such a thing because he's an elevated artist. Not that he's any bigger than you, but he's done so much stuff.
Well, I've done that a few times with him. I've known Billy for many, many years. And
that's good.
Here's a fellow that fills Madison Square Garden before pandemic every month.
Yeah,
are you
I know.
kidding me? I mean, no, not even the Knicks can do that. You know what I'm saying? So, first of all, I have a relationship with him and his band for many years through a number of things, including my daughter, one of my daughters, whose company used to drive them, probably still drives them. And so we feel like kind of family with them. So when I go on stage, I know all of the people. I know Crystal and I know, Mark Rivera and, it's just, it's great to go up there and come on. I mean, they treat me like gold. You go on the stage, there's 17,000, 18,000 people screaming and hollering. It's not too bad. It's not too shabby.
That's incredible. I mean, and your song, People Got to Be Free, that was a big song that you guys did. Was that also borrowed from somebody else, or did you?
No. We after the first Good Lovin', we started writing all our own. Those are all.
That was a really great song.
Yeah, after that, they're all ours. But as I say, we were not really allowed. So we were signed.
So you were like the Monkees type of thing, where the Monkees weren't allowed to write their own stuff at first, type of thing, right?
Well, we were not allowed because basically we had just come up from the clubs, and the clubs didn't want to hear originals. So when Atlantic signed us, they signed us on the basis of our stage show. And here's the interesting thing, because as I say, they were all covers, but in our covers we had songs such as "Good Lovin'," which we know, "Mustang Sally," "Land of a Thousand Dances." Well, the interesting thing is Atlantic comes along. They give all our songs to Wilson Pickett. He has big hits with them. How do you like that? I learned real quick. Wait a minute. ¿Qué pasa, my man? What's going on here? But, that's what they did.
And there's a lot of songs that people don't know you guys did. Like, I Ain't Gonna Eat My Heart Out Anymore, which I really thought was
that was our first record. And that was, like, as I say, it's a transition from the clubs to the recording studio. So Atlantic got 2 songwriters from Motown to write that song for us, which was a good song.
Yeah, really well written, and everything sounds good in it. Yeah, excellent. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, we have a question from a listener, Tom Payton. He wants to know about your time working with Ringo Starr and the All Star Band.
Yeah. Well, see what he does for people who don't know. It's called the Ringo Starr All Star Band. He takes people such as the one that I was involved with was Mark Farner from Grand Funk,
Right.
Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner, John Entwistle, rest his soul, from You Know What, The Who. Who else did we have on there? Billy Preston. You don't have to. I mean, if you don't know Billy Preston, Google
You
it.
don't know music.
His son was there, and what we do with that is we go around in circle, and each person does one song of each other's. So in other words, they'll do Groovin', and then we'll go on to, Randy will do Taking Care of Business, and then Mark will do I'm Your Captain, and then we go around like that, and it's kind of interesting because when it gets to the Beatle, it's just a gas. Because you close your eyes when you're on stage and you open them up and there's a Beatle on the drums. You go like, oh my God, where am I? Oh, he's a really great guy, man. And like I've said this many times, but man, he loves being on stage. You can just feel it, like the rest of us. But I mean, like in his case, you got to pull him off. He really enjoys being in front of people. He's still doing it, as far as I know. I mean, I know that they're going back out this year again.
He just did another album like last year.
Yeah. Exactly. A lot of the oldies but goodies people, man. I mean, like we really love this. Yeah. And I'm sure the younger generation feels the same. This is it's a job, but it's a joy.
Right. We also wanted to know, where did the name the Rascals, you started out the Young Rascals and then the Rascals, where did the name the Rascals come from?
Well, here's one of the things that everybody had a different answer for, So I've got my story, which I love.
And why did the name change so many times, too? That's the other thing. Oh, my God.
It changed because, that's another. You see, all these different stories. These are all these stories.
I'm getting the book,
to the beginning.
I want the book, Felix.
You read the book, it's explained. But here's the deal. You remember Soupy Sales? You all know Soupy Sales?
Sure.
Absolutely.
You remember him? Okay. Well, Soupy had a big hit record called The Mouse. We were undiscovered. We said, hey, why don't we go down to WNEW? Talk to Soupy. Maybe he needs a backup band. So we walk in. And again, this is in the book, but I got to tell you because it was. And he sees us, and right away he goes, okay, everybody, grab your wallets. We start laughing, And then we start talking to him. We said, like, Soup, big fans, and we know you got a hit record now. You need a band. You got to have a band to back you up. He says, you mean all these years I didn't have a band and I didn't realize that I needed it? And so we started laughing again, and it went on and on and on. So he said, this could work. Because sometimes I work, nobody laughs. You guys always laugh. This could be great. He was, let me tell you, man, he was just fantastic doll as a human being. I mean, he was just like you saw him on television. He was just, what a sweetheart, man. He was just a doll. So he said, what is your names? What do you call yourselves? And we had these stupid names. We kept trying names, and they were terrible. He says, what I'd like to call you, we couldn't put it on a marquee. He says, we couldn't put it in public. I think he gave us the name. That's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. He called us the Rascals,
Oh, wow.
So that stuck. Now, as far as the second part of the question, what happened is when Good Lovin' came out, we were on our way to California. We were going to the Whiskey A Go-Go because in those days you had to connect the East Coast and the West Coast radio stations to have a big hit.
Right.
While we were out there, our manager, Sid Bernstein, calls up and said, lads, he called us lads. I love that. Gotta change. I had a problem. We had to change the name. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, there's this group now I'm going way back on Milton Berle's show called the Harmonica Rascals.
Oh.
We got a copyright infringement. So without asking us, he puts this young in front of us. The Young Rascals. I said, time out. And you know what the punchline of this is? For many years, I would have people come knock on my door and say, Felix, did that dog really have a ring around his eye? You know what I'm saying? I mean, so when we decided that we were big shots, we had a hit record, get rid of the young. And that's how it changed.
Wow.
Get rid of it. Because, it's kind of like, it's a very personal thing when you name a band. It's just like, almost as bad as when you name a kid. You don't want anybody naming your kid,
Right.
Of course.
So the Young Rascals. Okay. So anyway, that went the way of all flesh.
Wow.
So when you brand the band, and you guys did brand it as the Rascals,
right.
He went along and branded because somebody else had copyright infringement. I didn't even know nothing about that. That's amazing.
Well, it happens, and as I say, it was a decision that was made without our knowledge, and it didn't sit very well,
Yeah, I mean, you also did a lot of the old TV shows, right? I mean, you did American Bandstand, you did Hullabaloo, The Monkees. Have any special memories of any of those TV shows that you guys did?
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh my God, we did a lot. Whatever was around in those days, we did. I mean, because it wasn't like it was pre-MTV days. Don't forget. So we did, like, I don't know if you remember from New York, Clay Cole show. There were all kinds of shows. Hullabaloo. There was, I think, Shindig. There was
many,
as you say, American Bandstand. And the interesting thing there's so many stories. I mean, it's just amazing. In those days, the majority of those shows were lip sync. They weren't live.
Right. You could tell. You could tell.
What you could tell. So what I remember is, like, we were doing this barnstorming tour around the United States, all these little shows, stuff like that. So one day I said, because it was live, but the music wasn't, So I said, we got to do, man. Let's switch instruments in the middle of the song and just jump on each other's instrument. The guy went nuts. They went, what are you guys doing? Oh, we really, I tell you what, we really had a good time. It was wonderful. In the early days, everybody got along. Everybody was really, fun and games, especially Eddie. Eddie was like hilarious, I mean, people would say that they would, when you used to be able to meet people at the airport, you can't do that anymore. You get arrested, But when you hear us come off the plane, they would say, we could hear you laughing, all the way down the corridor. We could hear you because Brigatti make me laugh. I mean, he used to make me crazy, And, I miss those days. They were a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of fun.
And I saw you inducted a friend of mine too from the Vanilla Fudge. What was that like to induct them in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, it was nice. It was out in Long Island, I believe, right?
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah. Wow, it's that long ago.
It's like not yesterday. Yeah, it's far away.
Know, wow, yeah. It was very nice that ask me to do that. Because I've known them obviously for many years. We had the same. I think we had the same lawyer at the time, way back when. And recently, I just worked with Carmine Appice. I think he calls him a piece now. Excuse me, but anyway.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
I don't like. I mean, that's not your name. Anyway, God forbid. But I know those guys for years, and Carmine and I have stayed close. We're he just came to Florida and sat in with a show that I was doing down there. Yeah, he's something else, man. Let me tell you.
Wow. In the 1970s, the Rascals experimented with a more of a jazz influenced sound. Right. And then you guys went to Columbia Records. Tell us about that time.
Well, that's a big part of our career, because it was at that juncture, going from Atlantic to Columbia, that Eddie decided to leave, and that was a major blow. That was a big deal, because it wasn't, pre-planned. It was kind of like a spur of the moment, kind of. It was at the friggin' contract signing, which was kind of weird. Hey, we'll see you, So it was like as if, like the front right tire decided to go to the right and the rest of the car went to the left. So anyway, it was quite an experience. And then, when the group kind of splintered like that on a different label, it was also a time when the radio stations were jumping from AM to FM. So the kind of like music was changing from a AM 2 minute 30 second to a longer kind of stretch of things, where you could kind of stretch out and play. And I really wanted to try that because now since I re-implemented the band with some really serious musicians, not that the other guys weren't serious, but I had more soloists.
Right.
I did that.
Yeah. And you guys have had some reunion tours, right? The Rascals all together.
Well, kind of. I mean, unfortunately, we really never had a complete, all of us reunion tour. The closest thing we came to that was the Broadway show that we did in 2013, which was,
Yes.
but primarily that was really, it wasn't really supposed to be a tour. It was supposed to be just the Broadway show. And then they made an attempt to take it out on the road, but
Right.
unfortunately, no, we only had 3 of the 4 almost always.
Wow. I know every show was sold out. I remember that.
We had a good time, it was fun, but I kind of knew that, it wasn't going to last, for a while, because, it's in a way, it's kind of like a divorce.
Yeah.
How'd you like to spend some time with your ex? I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Well, that's how it feels. I mean, seriously, you're going back and, it's really sad. It's something that I shouldn't be funny about because, it's really a shame, because I mean, I love my guys. I mean, we had great times together. And, when things end up like that, you just look back and say, well, what's wrong with our humanity? I mean, it's just, it's like, what's his name out in California, Ronnie King? Why can't we get along, man? Why can't we get along?
Yeah, that's why I always ask everybody the same thing. What about Gene Cornish? You still working with Gene Cornish? Anything?
Well, I'm not working with him, but I'm in contact with him. I don't know if you know what happened there, but in 2019, again, this is with Carmine. We put together 3 of us. We put together myself, Gene, and Carmine, because the other 2, I asked them if they would like to go out, and they didn't want to go out. Dino for a number of reasons, Eddie for a number of reasons. So we went out. We had maybe done 3 or 4 shows, and Gene had a heart attack on stage.
Oh wow!
Really?
I didn't know
Wow.
that. I heard that he was getting sick, but I wasn't sure what happened.
He actually, he was no longer with us for a few minutes there. Let me tell you.
Oh, wow.
But he got very lucky because there were 2 nurses in the audience. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying they saved his life. I mean, they literally came out and started doing the things you need to revitalize. And so he's I'll say he's okay. He's really not okay, but he's all right.
Okay. Well, I love to him, but I do want to ask you about some of your songs, like "Only a Lonely Heart Sees." That a lot of people don't know that's you.
Yeah. Story of my life.
It's a good song. It's a really good song.
Proud of that song. Well, you have to remember that, like, before MTV, you really did not get that much personal recognition as an artist. They didn't know who you were. They knew who you sounded like. They knew, what your songs were, but they didn't know you. And then, of course, when we used to say in the dress around, it's a good thing we don't have video. Oh, never mind. But the bottom line is a lot of the groups have really made it as more on their looks than on their playing, you know what I'm saying? Because of their videos. And now it's like a regular thing between YouTube and all those things. I mean, everybody knows what everybody looks like instantly as soon as they put a record out,
Yeah. And Tommy James has said that as many times as well, too. He had a hard time with 3 Times in Love. Everybody's saying, who's this? Tommy James. Who's Tommy James? Where's he from? Tommy James and the Shondells.
Exactly.
And that happens. But, this is the way technology changes. Your music changes. Your style changes. Your life changes.
There's so many changes. I mean, one of the things that, in the old days, we didn't have any of the kind of like computer enhancements that you have now.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you actually had to spell. Well, it's the same thing. Yeah, you actually spell. Can you imagine that? What a concept, And the same thing with singing and in many cases playing. They can fix anybody up in the studio. So that's why the past tense, the older guys and gals, they're pretty damn good, man. Let me tell you, because you couldn't fix them. You know what I'm saying? And they were just good, period,
Felix, do you have any favorite venues like around the United States or the world?
Sure. I mean, I love Hawaii. Come on. We were very, very popular in Hawaii. We were like Beatles in Hawaii for a number of reasons. And I used to say, look, the heck with every place. Let's just stay here, I mean, come on. What could be? Yeah, there's a lot of places. I just came from Florida. Florida's always been fun. Always been fun.
Yeah.
There's certain places that you go that, like with all due respect, you can't wait to get out of there,
Yeah.
It's not all glamour and,
I know.
We go to a lot of places that, like are really remote. I mean, and I'm happy to say that. I'm happy to do that. But I mean, like I remember going up to a casino. Where was it? I think it was in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin or northern Minnesota. It was freezing, dude. I mean, oh my God, don't leave me off here, please. I mean, seriously, they would have like these ice sculptures, in the parks, you know what I mean? And they wouldn't melt. They just stay there all year.
Wow. Well, I remember seeing you one time in August in Las Vegas. I think it was the Hilton. So yeah, it was pretty hot at that point in time. So.
Yeah, that's the thing when you try to pack your bags for all these different shows. You don't know, where am I going to be tomorrow? Well, we'll see.
Yeah, and I remember also seeing you at Jones Beach, which was an awesome show.
Sure, yeah, which has always been fun, always.
Yeah, and you worked with Todd Rundgren.
Right.
You produced your self-titled debut album. Tell us about working with Todd.
Well, he's a very interesting guy. I mean, he's very different. He's very strange, and by that I mean, he's really focused on what he's doing. I don't remember any kind of like fooling around times or lunch breaks or stuff like that. I just remember working pretty hard. We worked hard, yeah. And he had his own studio at the time. It was interesting. It's different. It's interesting working with different people because everybody has a kind of a different way of doing. Kind of the same things,
Right, exactly. Have you ever had any memorable fan encounters who wanted to meet you or something like that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I've had in many ways, one of which, as I say, I mentioned, I was in, I can't remember, I think it was in Albany doing an outdoor show. And I went, in back, what is the backstage, which is kind of like a field almost,
Right.
And there was this gentleman back there, and he said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, man. What's up?" And he took off his dog tags, and he gave me his dog tags. And I said, "Well, what's this about?" He says, "Man, you saved my life." I said, "What you talking about?" He says, "Well, during the Vietnam War, the Navy, PT boats, whatever they called them, they used to go up the Mekong Delta, pick up the wounded. I heard you guys were going to be on Hullabaloo, and they were broadcasting it at the base. I said to my sergeant, I'm going to skip this boat, man. I'm going to go over here and see the Rascals. I'll take the next one." That boat went down. All hands lost.
Oh, wow.
So when you hear stories like this, you just go like, wow. Yeah, I know. It's more, music is very important. You know what I mean? It reaches all kinds of places, inside, outside, up, down, sad, happy, and that stuck. That one I will never forget.
Yeah. I know you have two shows coming up here in the New York area. One is the Palladium on Friday, June 3rd with Mickey Dolenz,
Right.
Monkeys. That's going to be an awesome show. And also the Patchwork Theater, May 14th.
Right.
Tell us about that. Tell us about working with Mickey. Have you worked with him before?
Oh, yes, I have. I've worked, as a matter of fact, I've worked with all of those Bucky people. And they're unfortunately all gone, but man, they were great. I mean, seriously, I don't know how many people, I'm sure the fans of theirs know how talented they were. They're really talented. I mean, Davy Jones he could be on any he could be a comedian anywhere. He had, the language thing he could do with Irish and Scottish and all that kind of stuff. And he was really funny. I mean, and of course, Peter Tork lived in Connecticut. He was kind of a more serious guy. Mike Nesmith just passed. Rest his soul. Yeah. He was a talented man. If you look him up, check him out, man. He was responsible for kind of the beginning of music videos on Nickelodeon, which no one knew, and then of course there's Mickey. Now Mickey, he's a piece of work, let me tell you. I mean, he's really funny. He's He's very talented. He's very good. I mean, as you know, he was an actor, and you know, and he puts on a heck of a show. So the premise is this: look, it's a rascal and a monkey. You know, it sounds like a menagerie, but it's going to be happy. And Lord knows, we need some happy right now, man. I mean, like, you know, this is coming out of this pandemic, and then what we have going on right now, which is not a joke. You know, I think it's time for people. I mean, I hope it's time for people to kind of say, okay, let's have a good time tonight. You know, let's just enjoy, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And also, I wanted to ask you about if someone's getting into the music business, do you have any advice for them?
Don't. Well, you know, seriously, the music business has changed so radically since, you know, when I started. First of all, when we first started, there wasn't really that many people trying it because there wasn't. Thank you, my man Jimmy says, yeah,
Jimmy's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, first of all, you didn't make a lot of money in the beginning. You really didn't make a lot of money. Of course, Beatles are exception, Stones, until Zeppelin came along. Right. When Zeppelin came along, like all of a sudden now the entire world was kind of connected record sale wise because the labels consolidated, you know, globally. And now you got some zeros, you know. So basically, in those days, you know, you take a real chance to be in the music business because of the fact of that, you know. Right. And there was all kinds of funny business going on, which, you know, Tommy James, if you spoke to him, you read his book, you know what I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah.
And as the years went by, to me, the turning point, with all due respect to my hippie brothers and sisters, was Woodstock. After Woodstock, the corporations kind of said, there's an audience out there, man. Let's get in here. Well, with all due respect, once they got in here, everything changed. Now it's business. Used to be the music business. Now it's the business music. Well, now turn the clock ahead all to now we got with streaming. Okay, good old Apple starts it off, right? Instead of us making an album sale, we make a single sale. We make what, 60 cents?
Is that ridiculous? Is that ridiculous?
Unbelievable.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but that's multiplied by millions of times. So
you think so, huh?
Yeah. That's what they tell you.
Who told you that?
You know, that's what they tell you. Right?
Well, you could Taylor Swift will tell you that. Yeah, I'm sure. Like, you know, but a lot of the people that are under the top shelf, they'll go like, I think the word is oy vey. What was this check? What is this? Streaming?
37 cents.
I don't even know how to explain streaming as far as this is concerned. You know, it's so okay. So now we get to like real seriousness. I mean, real seriousness. In order for you to be heard and seen today, unless, you know, people go viral every once in a while, you have to have a lot of yeah, look at this. There you go. 0.00001 per stream. Sounds like a bank. That's the interest you get, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard today. You know, it's not like, so you've got to go by the old standbys of like, you know, like you got to believe in yourself very strongly, very strongly. And you really have to be good. I mean, you know, there's a book out by Malcolm Gladwell, I think is his name. They call it 10,000 hours in terms of like the goal you have to reach to be a virtuoso at whatever trade you're in. You put 10,000 hours in, you're going to be a hit. You're going to be a champion at whatever you do. However, if you're not willing to make that kind of commitment, man, it's just so hard. It's a shame. I have a daughter who I named Aria, who sings like an angel. I mean, she's just like, you make you cry. She tried to be in the music business for about a year and a half, and she said, "Nah, I don't think so. I think I'm going to go home and have a family." It's really hard, but not to discourage people. But I mean, there's a way to do it, and there's a way to advise people who are doing it. Not always try to be on stage. I mean, is there something wrong with playing for weddings? And, you know, something wrong with playing for like nightclubs? There's something wrong with, like, for example, there's millionaires being made doing video games. You never know these people's names, but you know what? The bank knows them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, commercials. You know, there's so many places that you can make a living besides being, you know, on stage.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And you know, it's funny too, because I just interviewed the Terry King and the Drifters in our studio, and he said the same thing. His problem was, it's not that people don't know the Drifters music, of course they do, but they don't know the new Drifters music, and the oldie stations won't play it, and most people won't know it's them.
Well, you know, that's another part of it that's just different. But you know, like I say, there'll always be musicians, and there'll always be great musicians, and you know, we live by I don't know, that there's so many things I could answer that with. I don't mean to discourage anyone by all means. I just, you know, you got to be realistic about what you're doing, you know, and this is a tough business.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I want everybody to go pick up your book, of course, and it's available at your website. It's felixcavalieremusic.com, right? And it's also probably available at Amazon. And I know you can get autographed copies. In fact, I just ordered mine from your website.
Well, there you go, my man. All right.
I'm going to be ordering mine after we're done, because I want one too.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's an interesting story, because I really had no idea when I was in school that I was going to be a musician. And that's what I try to stress to, you know, so-called younger people. Just leave the doors open, and when you see one open up, go in.
Yeah, my friend Jimmy Ashenbear says, play at garage sales before leaving. Got to keep going. Love you, man.
He knows. He knows.
He's a good guy. But Felix, we got a couple extra minutes here, and we're going to finish talking to you. But, you know, we wanted to ask you, before you go, if there's anything that we want to talk about as far as now you did a book. Were you ever going to do a movie? Well, you said you were going to try to get into acting. Is that going to happen?
No. Basically, I tried to do a movie with the Rascals. You know, I really tried. You know, following the Beatles' Hard Day's Night, I really gave it a try. I actually went out to California and met with Steve Allen. And if you remember Steve Allen, and I asked him if he would be a director. And I really didn't have much support. You know, you know, basically, you know, you need a lot of help to do anything of that ilk, of that size. You know, you need people to find. We couldn't find a good script. You know, you have to have a producer that'll put up money. Yeah, but I tried. You know, no, there's just, I just want to keep on keeping on, man. Keep making music. I'm doing the things I really like now, besides the fact that I did this book. I've got a new album coming out in September.
Awesome.
I've been playing and I'm a little bit in front of symphonies. I've been doing my music in front of symphonies.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. That's fun.
What's the album like?
Well, here's the album. Okay,
give us a little taste of it. What's
okay.
Yeah,
it's called Then and Now. And here's the idea: take 5 songs that influenced you, re-record them, such as Higher and Higher, Spanish Harlem.
Oh yeah.
You know, Slip Away, and then write 5 new ones that shows the influence. That's the new album, Then and Now. And it was fun. It was great. And I use the word fun because it's a gas.
You know what's funny is, and before we go on, I actually did a show for almost 8 to 10 years called Crystal Cavern, which had the influence of the song before the artist did the song. Like the guys from the Beach Boys would come out and do a song, and the song was, the influence was there, and also the song, and then how they did the song. So that's how the whole show was set up, and that's almost like your album. I'd like to hear that, or if you can get a copy.
We'll make sure you do. Yeah, we stole your idea, so
no, it's a great idea. It's not stolen. It's, believe me.
No, but you know what I'm saying. It's perfect. It's true. There's you know, it's almost impossible not to be influenced by somebody, you know, somewhere in your subconscious, you know. But I mean, this was a direct. I tried to make it a direct. I mean, in some cases it's a stretch, but you know, it's just kind of respect for the past.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. I just want to say I was influenced by the horn sections of Chicago, the Grassroots with P.F. Sloan, and of course Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Lighthouse. All these great bands with brass.
Power. There you go.
Power as well.
Yeah.
And Earth, Wind, and Fire. All these great. You know, fantastic. Humongous horn section bands.
Absolutely.
But that's what influenced me, and that's why I love music. But I'm also a musician like you, not like you, but want to be like you. Let me ask you:
are you a horn man? Are you a horn man?
I was a horn man for years. Yeah.
There you go.
I gave it up years ago, but I want to get back to it someday. Who knows?
Well, I mean, like I say, I have a lot of friends who are successful at business, and now they're in groups.
Yeah.
They're terrible, but they're still in groups.
But Felix, we want to ask you if you can do a sweeper for us. Basically, just say who you are, and from the Rascals, and you're listening to the Jimmy DIELE Show on Hamilton Radio, and we'll play it around your music and your new music and your old music and everything else.
This is Felix Cavaliere from the Rascals, and you're listening to the Jimmy DIELE Show. Oh God, I can't. I got to say it in English.
That's all right.
And what did you say? Hamilton? Is that Hamilton?
Hamilton Radio. Hamilton Radio. Yeah.
Hi, this is Felix Cavaliere, and hi, this is Felix Cavaliere. You're listening to the Jimmy DIELE Show on. What is it called? It's called
Hamilton Radio.
That's it. There's no other.
It's Hamilton Radio. Yeah, 26 years. Hamilton Radio.
Hi, this is Felix Cavaliere of the Rascals. You're listening to the Jimmy DIELE Show on Hamilton Radio.
Perfect.
Unbelievable. Thank you so much, Felix. I really appreciate you coming on
guys,
the show.
Nice speaking to you all. Really
we really had a great time. Send me that music, please.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I'll be playing that.
Are you in touch with my publicist lady there, Melissa? Is that
yes, I have been. Absolutely.
Tell her, and we'll make sure that happens, bro.
Thank you, Felix.
Hey, man,
really
be safe. Take care of yourselves, huh?
All right, you too, my friend.
Right,
Thank you so much. What a
Thank
pleasure.
You so much. We appreciate it.
See you soon. I hope.
Take care, Felix.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Oh, another great show, Jimmy. Oh, my God, he's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, you can ask him questions all day long.
Oh, my God. To keep him on here a few hours. What a legend. Great to have him, really.
And having Jimmy Aschenbenner in here, and having Tom Payton in here, and who else?
Cindy Legron-Compton, Mom. My mom was out there listening.
Yep.
So many people that listen to us every week. Thank you so much, man.
We love you guys.
So many great shows.
We love you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, really. I just want to say, coming up on Monday, Maggie Brush stops by, and she is a upcoming country artist, so we're excited to have her on the show. Maggie Barr stops by here on Monday, Celebrity Spotlight. And of course, we got Land of the Lost actor Wesley Uri's going to come by, and so many more great people too. We have Angelo Venuto, who's an Italian dance music artist, who's a unbelievable singing sensation. Who else? We Mr. Music Norman Knight, formerly of WCBS FM, and he's got been national shows all over the United States and stuff like that. And he works with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He'll be here, and Larry Tomlin is going to be here of the Standells.
Standells,
yeah. And Darlene Newman, who's a TV travel host. I enjoy a lot of her shows, watching them on television. So it's going to be great to have her here and talk about them. And so many more great people, too, on the way, Doc.
God bless. God bless. So, and we are so blessed. Felix, like he said, keep on doing what you're doing. But, whatever we strive to do, let's just keep on. Oh, Terry King just said he's sorry he missed the show. There it is.
Hey, Terry, how are you?
Hey, Terry, how are you? Hey, Jimmy, thank you for being here. Oh, my God, what a freaking night. What a night this is. Thank you, Terry. We're going to interview you soon, too, my friend.
Absolutely, Terry.
Get him on here.
Sure.
So, yeah, Jimmy, thanks again, buddy. What a great show. Felix was awesome to talk to hear from. And, and a lot of them songs, I really didn't know that they were already pre-written by somebody else. I didn't know that. I thought they wrote them.
Yeah, I learned a lot tonight.
But the covers were what they wanted, so that's what he did.
Yeah, what a great legend, and it was so great to have him on.
Yeah, and I can't wait to meet him and maybe get his autographed book. I'll ask for my birthday because it's coming up in June. So
absolutely, I hope everybody picks one up at his website.
Yeah, and what's the website again, Jimmy?
It's FelixCavalieremusic.com, and you can pick up an autographed copy of the book if you go there, and I think you could. It's pre-ordered.
Terry King just said, "Okay, looking forward to it." Okay, cool. Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
We'll get in touch with Jimmy, and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Forward to it.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Have a great night. Thanks. We'll talk to you soon. See you next Monday.
See you
for the next show.
Maggie Bra.